July 6th, morning around 8:30 a.m. Pacific, and just wanted to do my daily mid-morning outlook here. So gold is probably one I'm watching the most so far this week. Here's the weekly. Again, not much to add since last video, but we have come into the zone of interest. We had three very strong high tails. And so what I am seeing on the lower levels is also confirming it with a double bottom pattern here. So here's the daily. Let's get down to the 240. So the 240 is where you start to see it shape up. We have this base of a double or triple bottom, or however you want to call it. We did break through this neckline impulsively, and we are now pulling back correctively. So I just want to watch, see what happens here with gold. Do we come back to the neckline? Do we come all the way back down to a fib level? Do we kind of stay right around here and break up? I drew this line here, this gold line, because there's also a chance that depending on how deep this pullback is, we could end up in a reverse head and shoulders. So just kind of watching how we form here and what we do on the 240 and the hourly, because I think we have shown signs of being able to go long after this corrective action concludes and gives us a sign to go up. That said, there's nothing stopping the market from continuing to new lows, and we do have to remember that we are in a downtrend on the 240. So we have, lower low, lower high, lower low. This is still a lower high. We have not broken above this last major high right here. But with this double bottom patterning, the impulse breaking of the neckline, I'm interested in seeing how this one plays out. So moving over to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a little bit of a similar story. So zone of interest, weekly, we've been watching this one for a while. We've been slowing down into a flag or a wedge pattern, but we impulsively came into it, and now we're milling. On the daily, this doesn't give too much credence, but the initial channel I drew is being broken. I think it may just be time to redraw the channel, but still, we're definitely forming a wedge or a flag pattern down here in the zone of interest. And then on the 240, we also have what looks to be a pretty clean double bottom with an impulsive break of the neckline. So I am watching this one closely as well. Very interesting doji right here as we approach back to the neckline. So we'll see. Still don't have a good reason to get in yet, though. On the hourly here, you can see, oops, let me get a little more space here. Still have not broken above this last, we did break above this high here, and we closed before we started pulling back, but we have not broken above this high here, which would probably be my next target to get to should we go. And we are forming a pretty clean impulsive wave down right now, and we'll see if that's it or if we come all the way back down into the neckline or into a fib level on Bitcoin. So let's move on to the Australian dollar. So on the weekly, it's just interesting because I get lost in the sauce sometimes on the daily that we've just been doing nothing but going up, but really we're not at all-time highs, and that's really what I want to show on this weekly. And we broke out of a trend line triangle, and we came out. Now doesn't mean we can't pull back deeper, go wherever, but we have broken this sort of downtrend on the weekly with a move up, closing well above these highs, these lower highs here, and even these lower highs here. So we are reversing a downtrend so far on the weekly. Getting into the daily, I have this zone of interest matched because it was the last support on this daily uptrend. Pretty significant impulse move up, came down, new high, boom. Don't want to get ahead of myself here, but perhaps this forms a head and shoulders. Perhaps we come crashing down. Don't know, but it's very interesting. We are definitely bouncing out of the zone of interest with higher low. That said, it's not impulsively breaking out on the daily. This could just as well be a retracement kind of flag. And I need to keep in mind that we are bearish. So lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We will see. In the 240, it wasn't the cleanest double bottom. Certainly more of just a normal or a basing pattern, I guess you will. A lot of buy candles, a lot of buy candles. We had this dip and then impulsive up that did engulf. Certainly on the 240, came back down, made a lower low, and then impulse up, making a higher high. And now, kind of above that zone, we're milling. So I am looking at this as, call it a base, not a double bottom, but a base with a pullback. And should we break this high here, I think I would be targeting getting up into this zone here. It was the last area of congestion. The high would be way up here, but the volumes would be here. So somewhere in this zone, I would target, risk reward, boom to boom. Uh, but going to watch what it does and how it pulls. And the hourly doesn't add much more to it than that. So let's move over to the euro. So on the weekly, this was that line. You can watch the videos from the last few weeks, but definitely was interested that we closed below it. But then we then moved up into it, and now we're just milling here. So important on the weekly, kind of same as the Australian dollar. We broke this major downtrend, cleared new highs, higher high, higher low, higher high. We have not yet broken this last super major high up here, but we broke the trend line and we are moving up. And then on the daily, this is that line from the weekly. And to me, we still look, we could do anything, the market can do anything it wants, but it looks very corrective. It looks like a flag pattern, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This looks congestive and like a flag. We have a lot of sell wicks. So right here, huge pressure on the selling down, huge pressure selling down, huge pressure selling down. So I am still a little more bearish bias, short bias on this one. The main thing I'm watching is this channel here drawn on the 240 and this high here on the 240. So we we have not closed above this. We got close and then we smashed down, and that's when we stopped making higher highs on the 240. And if we break below this channel line here, I'm going to be very interested to see if we get down to these lows at least and form a double bottom, or if we continue to correct all the way down. On the 60-minute, it's really the same thing, just a more high fidelity drawing of this trend line here. So real interested to watch. We did break this low here. We are congesting right here. Not sure where we're going right now, but not trying to play this right here, waiting for a break below this or a break to new highs on the euro. Let's go to oil. So oil, reversing a huge uptrend. This was geopolitical. I'm sure everyone's aware of everything with Iran and everything. So we are pulling back on the daily. What I want to show is this line here is one of real interest to me. This is where the big geopolitical shock happened. We came down and there was tremendous buying here that just led to a crazy uptrend. So as we approach this, we are slowing way down, as you can see, right? Impulse, and then the slope of this congestive area is a more of a falling wedge into this zone. And we are actually having kind of 3 days of flattening out here. So on the 240, it's not the best drawn falling wedge. You can draw it in multiple ways. It's cleaner on the 60, I'll show in a second. But we are coming out of this line here that had the highs hit. We are milling and technically kind of closing above and milling right around these last lows here. We've not broken any of these significant highs yet, but we are flattening out and slowing way down. On the 60, it becomes a lot cleaner here on this channel. So watching to see where we go from here. Are we going to break this channel up? Do we come back down here and form a double bottom? Do we continue to crash through lower? Not sure, but just watching this one. And last, let's finish it up with S&P 500. I saved this one for last because I don't really have a story. On the weekly, I think this candle is making me want to think and look for longs and go, but on the daily, we are still just in this coil. And we're not making higher highs or higher lows. We are approaching the zone here, but it's nothing that's making me want to put capital at risk quite yet. So just waiting and seeing what happens. We were coming off of an uptrend. We are coiling, so I could go either way, right? It's not that I don't believe we can't shoot up higher, but I also need to see some confluence and price action to tell me that it's ready to go. For right now, I think sitting on your hands for the S&P 500 is the only play to do. So ones I'm watching most closely are how gold is going to handle itself right here. Is this a bottoming double triple bottom? Where does this retracement sort of end and give me a sign to go long, or do we break all the way down? And Bitcoin and Australian dollar are the other ones that I'm most keeping my eye on right now. Same story with Bitcoin. Do we have a double bottom here? Is this it? Are we going to finally break some of this massive downtrend we've been having? Or do we continue lower? And then Australian dollar, is this just a corrective daily up to here and then we crash down? Or are we going to start to get back up into the zone at least, forming either a head and shoulders or break all the way to the upside? So more granularly on this one, above here, do we take a long to get into this zone here? It's looking close, so I will take this. Shall we break above here? And not quite sure where the risk or where the stop will be placed, but if I just keep it simple, let's go a little bit above, let's put it below this. Getting up into this zone would be a twofer, 1.5, 2. That's great. That's exactly what I target. So watching this one pretty closely.